Hey guys, welcome back to the KingFanMan channel, the place for all things Bethesda. I'm still on the road, but that's okay. That's not going to keep me from bringing videos to you guys. And today I'm so excited because we're going to talk about Rage 2. As most of you know, I got to play it at QuakeCon this year. You know, there has been a group of people ever since Fallout 76 came out that have been consistently saying they're not even going to try it because it is an online game. And even though I'm not in that camp anymore, I do understand where they're coming from because I'm not an online guy. Well, I have an obvious answer for them, or an obvious solution, and that is Rage 2. Now, wait, you've probably thought of that already, but I want you to hear me out. In my review, I'm going to try to convince you that Rage 2 is a very good alternate to Fallout 76. If you don't want to play Fallout 76, then play Rage 2. So hear me out today as you listen to my review of Rage 2. Okay, I have to say to begin with, I think the game is amazing. Overall, to review it, I give it an A+. It was just amazing, and I thank Bethesda so much for giving me the opportunity to play it early. As you know, the only opportunities that people have had to play it was at E3 and at QuakeCon. So the privilege to be able to play this game before almost anyone is just amazing. So to be able to give you a review of it, I feel very privileged to be able to do it. Okay, the first point is obvious. If I'm trying to convince someone to play this game instead of Fallout, or if you don't want to play Fallout, the first one is obvious. It is a single-player game. If you're not wanting to play Fallout 76 because it's an online game, well, Rage 2 is a single-player game. It's not online. That's obviously what people want who refuse to play Fallout 76. So, there's 1 point for Rage. Well, number 2, it's a post-apocalyptic game. Granted, it's not the same universe as Fallout, but it is in a very similar post-war, mutant and raider-covered world, but we'll get into all that in just a minute. For now, I'll just say the world of Rage is as close to the world of Fallout as you're ever going to get. That's another point for Rage 2. It's also an open world, which we'll talk about in just a minute, RPG, where you can go anywhere, do anything, and you can play any style you want to play. Sure, it is built by id Software, the makers of Doom. You know, the game that is built to go 1,000 miles an hour with fast shooting and melee, finishing moves, and enemies galore. So yes, the game is built to play with that style of shooting and melee. But the creator also said you can slow it down and be a sniper, picking off the enemies, like I like to do, at a very leisurely pace. So you can play any style. So it is an open world, go anywhere, do anything, RPG type. I think that's exactly what Fallout lovers want. Score another point for Rage. Now let's talk about the open world. Rage 2 has an open world that not only compares to Fallout or Elder Scrolls type world, with the many different types of terrains, Rage 2 promises a seamless world with no loading screens. You can go straight from a car battle and jump out and run into a camp or a town of raiders with no loading screen. All you have to do is just start the carnage. Score another point for Rage 2. And finally, speaking of those cars, Rage 2 has something that no Fallout game can ever claim. Fully customizable vehicles that you can drive, and it's not just cars. It's cars, trucks, monster trucks, diesel trucks, and even hovercrafts and helicopters. Rage 2's promise is if you can see it, you can drive it. Now, if those 5 reasons didn't tempt you to give Rage 2 a try, then let me tell you a little bit of my experience of playing the game at QuakeCon. I want to start with the powers or the abilities. It's a very unique, but it's a feature with most likely that you will use very often. The powers your player has through his nano blood, whether it's the slam where you jump up high and you slam down to the ground, causing great damage. If you like Fallout 4, it's kind of like what you do when you jump down in power armor, yet it causes more damage in Rage 2. Or another power that causes enemies to go flying backwards from you. Now, these powers are super fun, and many times they are very necessary when you find yourself overrun with enemies. Now, throughout the game, you will be able to find new powers, and you will also be able to strengthen and make your old powers and abilities more powerful. Now, I want to reiterate, these powers are so much fun to use, but sometimes they are absolutely necessary. You're going to hear this a little bit later, but there are a lot of enemies in Rage 2. You will find yourself outnumbered a lot in this game, so these powers will come in mighty handy. Another quick point is these powers also, you can install them or make them be effective on your weapons as well, making them more powerful for a brief moment. I can't tell you how much fun it is to run into a room full of raiders where it looks like you are outnumbered to the point of certain doom. One time I remember I did just that, and I engaged the power on my weapon, and I made it faster and more powerful. It also increased my health, but only just for a few seconds. So I had this power just for a few seconds. It made my weapon faster, but it was all I needed. For just that few seconds, it was pure bliss. I felt like a combination of the Terminator, Rambo, and the Predator all in one. Wow, those references kind of showed my age, didn't they? Okay, next I have to mention the wing stick. If you played the first Rage, you know exactly what the wing stick is. If you didn't, the wing stick is like a boomerang. You're seeing it on the screen now. It has to be one of the most fun things to ever be in a video game ever. If you've never used one, do yourself a favor. For no other reason, play Rage 2 just to use the wing stick. It has to be one of the most fun things to ever use in a video game ever. Now, it was great in the first Rage, and it is even better in Rage 2. This time, you can make it hit enemies around corners. You can make it go down, you can make it go up, you can make it turn left, you can make it turn right. So there is nowhere to hide from the wing stick. It is awesome. Now, as I've already kind of stated, this game is very smooth. The shooting, the weapon play, it is obviously better than Fallout 4. If you've ever played Doom from 2016, then you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you know how it feels. Now, just like Doom, this game can be as fast as you want it to be. Now, it's not as fast as Doom, but there are a lot of enemies in this game. And there are a lot, and I'm going to stress this, there are a lot more enemies in this game than in Fallout 4. And I'm going to say it again, there are a lot more enemies in this game than there are in Fallout 4. Not even close. Now, as I said before, you can play as a sniper, you can slow down, but this game is built as a run and gun game. That's the way it's built. It's built like Doom. It's built to go fast. Even though this is technically a first-person shooter, it really feels more like an RPG. It has the best mix of both that I've seen lately, with all of the customization, especially of the vehicles. Now, I do wish there was more customization of the character. This is where it falls short, in my opinion. It doesn't have the customization of the character, of the weapons, of the armor that I have seen anyway. If it had more of that, then it would be a true RPG. It leans more toward the first-person shooter in that sense, but it does have a great mix of the RPG and first-person shooter, and we will talk about that more in just a minute. Now, I mentioned the enemies before, that there are a lot of enemies, and there are, but they are also varied in this game, and they are powerful. I played on the lower levels, but they are already powerful, even on the lower levels, and again, there are a lot of them. This game is overrun with enemy factions, in fact. The authority returns from the first game with massive amounts of troops trying to hunt you down. But there's also mutants and super mutants, along with several different groups of bandit type enemies, and each of these groups have different tactics of fighting, each with different weapons and different defenses, some having powers of indivisibility like cloaking, others using shields that can block your bullets. Each of them have unique styles. It is so neat to see this. And on top of all this, each group you come in contact with will have a boss that promises to be very challenging. Again, something that Fallout 4 or any of the Fallouts didn't really have. So this game, as far as the enemies goes, is very, very challenging. There's so many more things that I want to say, and I could say about this game. I will say it is a beautiful game. The world is huge. It is massive. The graphics look wonderful. Now, we didn't get to play much with the cars. I wish we could have done more with the cars. Most of it was with the guns and the gunplay. So that was a little disappointing. Like I said there in my review, don't know about the character customization. We didn't get into that much. I'm afraid there's not much of that. So it leans more toward first-person shooter in that sense, but it looks like it is a good mix between a first-person shooter and an RPG. So I want to get back and kind of conclude this with those people out there that don't really want to play Fallout 76, that are kind of looking for something, okay? I really want to convince you here, okay? Rage 2 has a massive open world, and it has freedom. It is a go anywhere, do anything game, okay? So that is an open world RPG type game. That is an open world role-playing game. But yet, this game has a better weapon play and is more challenging than any Fallout you've ever played. So you can combine those two together, and what does it equal? Well, wait a minute. You can add one more thing. You can put cars and trucks and helicopters that you can customize, and you can see it, you can drive it, you put that together. What does that equal? Does that equal a Fallout game? Nope. It equals Fallout on steroids, okay? It equals an experience unlike anything on the market. So isn't it an alternative to Fallout 76? Yes. It is amazing. It is something I cannot wait to play. Am I going to put down Fallout 76 to play Rage? No, I'm going to play both of them, to tell you the truth. I'm going to have a hard time going back and forth between these two, because I am as excited for Rage 2 as I am for Fallout 76. I know you guys may have some questions about Rage 2. Please, if you do, leave them down in the comments below. I would love to try to answer them. If I didn't in this review, please ask them. I would love to try. As I said, hey, my links are all down below. Be sure to check all them out. As always, thank you for coming to the King's Corner to get your Bethesda fix. If you're able, please check out my Patreon page. I would love to have your support of this channel. That's the way we keep this content coming to you. And hey, if you're not a subscriber, you've listened this long, hit that button and just subscribe, and the Bethesda content will just keep coming and coming and coming and coming. If you don't, that old Rage girl, she's going to find you and she's going to get you. I am the KingFanMan. I'll see you next time.